Namaste. My name is Vaishali Patel. I'm the founder and CEO of Sanskar Teaching, and I also teach Gujarati with our online school. For privacy and confidentiality of our students, I'm not sharing a live class with you, but I'm going to give you a glimpse of what our adult level 1 beginner Gujarati class looks like. So it is a beginner's class, so I know some of you might feel like, why am I not hearing a lot of Gujarati? This class is meant for those that don't speak Gujarati or understand Gujarati as adults. So a lot of the talks are done in English. The class goes and you learn Gujarati. However, when I'm talking with you, it's going to be in English. Just a little disclaimer. We begin our class with a small pratna or just a grounding. We just take, a few moments to just ground ourselves. And sometimes the teachers will choose to teach a simple Gayatri mantra or other things in class. But I leave that part up to the teachers and the class group as a whole, what works for them, because it's an hour-long class and there's a lot to learn. So we do our best to make sure that it's accommodated in this time frame. Each week, students will receive, each session is 10 weeks long, and each week students receive folders for their classwork. Like this one, I wanted to show you what this looks like. We begin our classes with greetings. So in Gujarati, how do you say how do you say hello? So we teach you namaste is hello in Gujarati. Then we learn how do you say how are you? If it's somebody younger than you or same age as you would say, tu kem che. And then the folders that we have will explain that to you, so that's easier for you. In this particular folder, for example, here is the greetings one, where how do you say hello is namaste, or certain families have certain particular greetings. For example, you might hear Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Jinendra, Jai Swaminarayan, Ram Kabir, and that's individual to the family that you are speaking with. But just putting your hands together and saying namaste is good enough. And then it will say tu kem che. And you also get to see what Gujarati script looks like. Even though you may not learn how to read and write in these classes, the primary focus is getting you to speak and understand Gujarati. In the beginning, the first class, this is all the greetings part you're going to focus on. Tu kem che, હું મજામાં છું, and તમે કેમ છો, and તમે કેમ છો. So this is the exchange you do with the teacher every single class. So this gets embedded in you. You just remember it. And then eventually you'll say, it's nice to meet you. So you would say, તમને મળીને ઘણો આનંદ થયો. તમને મળીને ઘણો આનંદ થયો. Eventually, you'll go through other things in Gujarati. Do you know him? Let me introduce you. All of these things as you progress in the class. What is your name? Tamaru naam શું છે? So you get to learn different things as you progress in class. We also focus on gender nouns because in Gujarati, every noun has a gender, and based on that gender, you put a pronoun. And this is a concept that we start off in the beginning because it's important. For example, this is a generalized rule that a word that ends in O is a masculine gender noun. For example, a dog in Gujarati is called kutro. So if you wanted to say my dog, you would say maro kutro. Okay. A noun that ends in I or E, masi, an ant, is feminine gender noun. The noun that ends in U or U is a neutral gender noun. For example, toy in Gujarati is ramakdu, or a is plural or respected. Moja is socks, and dada is grandpa. So you would say mara dada, mara moja, maru ramakdu, and mari masi. Now there are exceptions to these rules, and this is explained to you in these papers, and the teacher explain it. And then you get to practice in the worksheet setting in a smaller dosage, so we don't overwhelm you, but this becomes clear when you are talking to somebody in Gujarati. The other important things that you cover is sentence structure. So in English, you're used to doing subject, verb, object. She is reading a book. In Gujarati, it's subject, object word. So it's te chopdi વાંચે છે. The verb goes at the end of the sentence. And this is something that the teacher teaches you from the beginning. And then you get to practice certain things like what the word for we, W-E in Gujarati, is either ame or apne. And when do you use which one? So these are subtle things that, Gujarati dictionary or an app cannot teach you. Whereas something like this, when you're talking to somebody and the more you hear them and the more you practice with the teacher, you get to learn. For example, the personal pronouns. I, is who, you is tu, you is tame, he, she, it is they, we is ame, and they is teo. So it seems like there's a lot of material. However, the teacher gauges the student body for that term and for that class, and then she will bring in or he will bring in what's exactly necessary for this group. You start building sentences from the first class. You have a list of verbs that you practice, and then you practice making sentences. So if I'm going to the park is હું પાર્કમાં જાઉં છું, then how do you say I'm going to the market? Now, the part that we emphasize in class is that when you in the beginning you may not know every single word how to say it in Gujarati, and it's okay. So for example, if you don't know how to say market in Gujarati, you could still say market and make the full sentence. You could say હું માર્કેટમાં જાઉં છું. The point is that you know how to say I'm going to. Does that make sense? Right? So that's something that we practice. We practice a lot of grammar, a lot of worksheets, and then there's a comprehension part. Now, this part is important. Sometimes it may seem like, well, that's kind of childish to have to practice this. It's important. The more you hear Gujarati, the more it becomes clear. For example, this is a simple thing. It's a story. It's between Bela and Sundar. Kem cho Sundar Bai. So you as an adult student, you say those things. Kem cho Sundar Bai. Now, the teacher will also emphasize the part that this sound cha is not in the English language. So one of the ways I do it with all level students is when you put your hand in front of your mouth and you say cha, like chocolate, cha, cha. There is no air coming out, but you say cha, there's an extra H sound. So that's what kem cho is. So as you speak more Gujarati in your class, the teacher will emphasize if you do make a mistake, they will tell you that it's a cha sound. So your pronunciations become clear, and then you can understand that the native speakers can understand you as well. There is reference guides for all kinds of grammar that you're going to learn in class. For example, the adjectives, adverbs, conjunctions. You will also learn prepositions, the pronouns, conjugation charts. These are really fun. So when we're practicing sentence making, students normally have these printed and then they keep it on them. So as we're making sentences, you learn how to make proper sentences. As you progress in different weeks, there's different vocabulary block that comes in. For example, in this particular vocabulary block, so each week is organized by vocabulary block. You're learning the vocabulary, then you're doing work around it. So the grammar concepts are, around that vocabulary block so that the vocabulary words you're learning in class, you practice it more and more, listening to it, hearing it, speaking it. So it kind of gets, આપણને યાદ રહી જાય, meaning you'll remember. So for example, this one was food and taste. So water in Gujarati is pani. Milk is doodh. So not only you get to practice that, but then you'll have certain worksheets that you do, and then you practice that in class. And then you're given all the hints that you need to make these sentences, and you do it with the teacher. I don't like to eat. Mane આ નથી ભાવતું કારણ કે. So then you practice it with the teacher. So then you're going slowly. And there's a lot of material that, again, the comprehension is a part of it. There is, sometimes there will be activities where you are asked to speak with the partner or a native speaker that, helps you understand the sentences. So for example, when you see something like this, break the sentence, the teacher sits down with you and you literally break one word at a time. For example, you like to pick up the ball. So that same class, you learn how do you use to want or to like. So to like, you like is tanegame, right? You saw that here. So now when you're making the sentence with the teacher, or in the class where you're saying, you like to pick up the ball, right? So you're saying, you like to pick up the ball. So you like is, we just saw in that other worksheet, it said you like is tanegame. Che, okay? To pick up the ball. To pick up is uchakvu, to pick up. Uchakvu. And a ball is just a ball. Now, to pick up the ball, this verb gets converted. Ketane ball, uchakvu, game che. Okay. Why did this verb turn into uchakvo? Because ball is a masculine gender noun. So instead of uchakvu, you would say uchakvo. Tane ball uchakvo game che. And then more you practice these kind of sentences in class, it starts becoming more and more clear because as you, with anything, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. There is a different verb that you're also practicing each class. For example, these are commonly used verbs that, we don't do it all in one, but you have this list for the whole term, and then you can practice them as you go along. So that really is a glimpse of our adult classes. I want to emphasize that it could seem, daunting in the beginning that this is a brand new language. And it is a team effort. The teacher will meet with you 1 hour per week to bring in, the material that we have and her expertise or his expertise. There is some work at home for you involved. It's very minimal because we know we're adults and we're busy, our lifestyles are busy, but simple homework like audio journals. So if in the class you learn I like, then at home you're going to make 50 sentences 5 sentences, I exaggerated 50, but 5 sentences that say, I like going to work. Mane કામ પર જવું ગમે છે. Mane work ગમે છે. I like work. I like school. Mane school ગમે છે. I like my mom. Mane મારી મમ્મી ગમે છે. So that I like part gets embedded in your head. And there are fun things as you progress into the session where the teacher puts you in breakout rooms where you have breakout scenarios. So she gives you a scenario, a list of words, sentences, and you create a conversation and you're actually talking to each other. Then the teacher pops in, corrects you, and then you come in and present it. So subtle things like that. Every class is going to look a little different, but the primary goal is to get our adult students to speak and understand Gujarati. So thank you for allowing me to share this with you. And I invite you to come join our live classes that meet once a week. These are weekday classes for now, but we may add weekend classes in the future. If you have any comments or questions, you can message me on Instagram at Sanskar Teaching, or you can comment here or email us, and I'll be more than happy to guide you. Chalo pacha marisu. Avjo. We'll see you later. Goodbye.